Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Foods predictions for WrestleMania 31, Sting versus Triple H. Now, during the build-up towards this match, they started off with the WWE versus the WCW thing, and when they started doing that, I just rolled my eyes, because if this was back in the days where WCW was a thing, fair enough, but it's been dead for I have no idea how long, so it's practically meaningless. But then came the Sting promo, the one with the voice emulator thing that went over his voice, and yes, that was actually Sting. I know it didn't sound like it, and I will say now that I never used to watch wrestling back in the Monday Night Wars. I started watching it during the Ruthless Aggression era. It wasn't my choice, it was a mother thing, plus that was just when I really discovered the wrestling. But even I knew something was up. I was like, is that Sting? No, that can't be Sting. That doesn't sound like Sting. I've only heard him a little bit when I watched the occasional episode of TNA. I only ever watch it when I'm bored, but I did occasionally, but it didn't quite ring right. So I could only assume how people that did watch during the Monday Night Wars, how they reacted, because then they'd be able to hear it and within seconds, like, that's not Sting. But it was, because people have used voice emulators to return it to its original form, and it is actually Sting's voice. So I don't quite understand why they did that. But anyway, my point being is he gave that promo, and during it he was pointing out that WCW died because of a corrupted authority, the NWO. And that sort of comparison I thought was quite clever. The one thing I would have added to it is that Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and Triple H are all part of the Clique. And they could have used that to say, well, your clique did this to WCW. Now, Triple H, you're in charge of WWE. How do I know your clique isn't going to destroy the WWE? And I would have just basically brought in the clique and would have made that a thing. And I think having Kevin Nash and Scott Hall on Raw, which could still happen, I've still got one more Raw left, but I think that would have added a lot more to it. Plus, with the abuse of power thing that they used with Booker T when he was warning him about Sting, then of course the shove of Ric Flair when he was warning him about Sting, I think the next progression to that would be the NWO warning him about Sting, because they're the ones that know the best, because they're the ones that was in the exact position that Triple H is in now. They're the faction that's going against Sting. So I actually hope that the NWO is going to be on Raw. Wouldn't put money on it, but it'd be a good thing. Not to mention, if the clique was all together, this is WrestleMania, there's one person that's got to be there. Even if he's not in the show so much, maybe if they added like a little segment just to say, hey, you're here, you might as well use him. But Shawn Michaels, it never feels like WrestleMania when Shawn Michaels isn't on a show somewhere. Hell, they could add another bullshit segment like, who's going to win the WWE Championship match, like they did last time, and everyone said how much that segment sucked, and it did, but the one saving grace was Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry, I love old man Shawn Michaels. He's so much better than young man Shawn Michaels. I know I'm alone, I know I'm the only one that prefers old DX to young DX, but I just loved the way Shawn Michaels was. But I'm getting off again, so back to Triple H and Sting. I think this match should be no DQ. I think when you have two competitors that have their own signature weapons, you have Triple H's sledgehammer, Sting with a baseball bat. It just makes too much sense to make it no DQ, so they can bring that extra element, even if they do it the same way Triple H did it with Brock Lesnar, where he was like, this is a fight, don't disqualify us, don't count us out, I want a decisive winner. Then that'll do. Of course there's a bit of a copycat thing, but I'll take it. This should be no disqualification, because if it's not, all they're going to do is a bit where the referee gets knocked out, then Kane throws Sting the sledgehammer, Sting pulls out the baseball bat, and that's how they'll do it, because they will do it. I'm telling you, they will. I just would like it without mess, and just just use them. But I think the biggest thing about this match is that it's a test for Sting. That's what I believe. I believe if Sting versus Triple H goes well and Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt goes well, then next year is going to be The Undertaker versus Sting. Call it wishful thinking, but I think that is the plan, just to test them, because the way Sting goes on about The Undertaker and how he's desperate for a match. I watched a panel with Sting, and every time he was asked a question, the answer was usually The Undertaker, until they started taking the piss out of him for saying The Undertaker. So it was like, well, or maybe John Cena or Triple H sort of thing. But you can tell that he wants that match. The only question is, can they do it well? And with this test, that'll tell us. But as who will win this match? Now, if WCW was still a thing, the winner of this match is a no-brainer. It's Triple H. Because the WWE isn't stupid enough to let a WCW guy go over a WWE guy, because this is one of the biggest problems of TNA. Every time they get a new WWE guy, they become world champion, and what that sends the message is WWE is better than TNA, which, let's be honest, it is. But on your show, you don't want people to think that, so Triple H would go over. But WCW is not a thing, and they haven't even whiffed at TNA, so the fact that TNA would be better than WWE is no. They haven't even looked like in that general direction. They haven't even made any comments. He's disappeared for the past 14 years, which I think is the right thing to do. If for nothing else, this leaves you open for a Sting victory, which is my prediction. I think that Sting is going to beat Triple H. I don't see it going any other way. Maybe back in the day, but not now. Sting wins. But what do you think? Will Sting get the victory? Will the Authority interfere? Do you think that if this match goes well, next year will be Undertaker versus Sting? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, favourite and subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. I am the Food. Thanks for listening.